place that's having problems. It's a theory.
Well, supposedly we're live right now.
Well, let's see.
So
An F5 button. What does it do?
I see something.
I see me.
Hooray!
yay, we're back, guys.
Wow, that was just such a really weird thing.
It was a
Welcome
weird
to
thing.
episode 60. Fuck Twitch.
61
60
B.
fuck Twitch.
Yay!
Hey. Sorry about that, guys. Something's wrong with Twitch, and it just did not like us for a minute. So we had to
Hey,
restart again.
Drumhell.
So no big deal.
Thanks for sticking it out with us.
Yay. So we're back. Something happened with Twitch, and it decided to say, screw y'all. Totally weird and out of character. Yep.
Happened to Pagani and Dallas on Wednesday. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's I bet you Twitch is doing some updates. Hey guys, we got it right here, and it is beginning of the episode before we get super crazy. We are thinking about doing some stuff on Facebook Live. As you know, I stream on Facebook Live, and since John has now got his desk, we're going to try to ask him to do some stuff on Facebook Live. And y'all let us know what you think of either one of them, because we do this for y'all, not for us. And so y'all let us know what you think about the Facebook Live stuff. If it looks cooler, sounds cooler, whatever.
Yeah, if it works at all for you guys, let us know.
I was hoping to get going with Facebook Live stuff at some point too.
Yeah. And so we were trying to figure out what's going to be going on with it. Since we do, the thing is we can't stream Facebook Live and Twitch at the same time. It breaks one of their policies. And
Which we're looking at because we can actually scale back our agreement with Twitch so that doesn't break their policy. But
yeah,
for now, they are still nominally giving us money.
Correct. So,
though obviously, we prefer if everyone goes to Patreon and supports us there. It's better. It's easier. And that way you're supporting us no matter where we stream.
Yeah.
That's true.
But we're trying to figure out what and how and all that good stuff. So, if you like us on Facebook, if you like us streaming Facebook Live, that's cool. Because they're trying to actually compete in a way with Twitch, but oh well. So let's go to this. We are now on episode 61A because
it's an F Twitch.
Yeah. So other than that, today is our year in review. We will not be streaming next Sunday because of the holidays, because Kathy said she's just not going to do it. She's like, no, I'm going to sit around and eat cookies and drink rum.
Well, I'm going to be in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that'll make it more difficult.
And we all know there's no internet in Minnesota.
No, there's not.
Only polar bears and snow and ice and the Vikings.
Yes, pretty much.
And Timberwolves. There's Timberwolves there too, right?
So I hear.
Do they have a hockey team?
The Wild.
Very well.
So we would figure we would do our year in review and talk about things that happened and talk about all the cool things that happened. I mean, we hit our 1 year anniversary, which I think is freaking cool as shit.
Hooray!
Yep. That was middle of the year, though.
Yeah, but I guess it's a year in review. So, other than that,
send us pictures of your models for our Dice Head Gallery. We're planning on doing shortly after the new year.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, send them to morethandicapodcast@gmail.com.
Correct.
Be nice if we put Dice Head Gallery in the subject line, too, to make it easier on Gonzo to find them all. But if not, we'll find them.
Yeah, we are doing a Dice Head Gallery sometime beginning of the year so we can see everybody's thing. It would be really cool to see progression shots.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that you actually have to watch to get the full appreciation, just listening to it. For those people who do only listen like on SoundCloud or iTunes, it's it's a little more difficult.
Yeah, that is definitely one that you need the sound for. Hey, Kathy, what are you drinking?
I am not drinking acrylic paint capillary agent.
Good call.
Instead, I am drinking. I have vanilla Coke Zero. And that's what I was when I started talking earlier about my odyssey of going to the grocery store and the craziness. Anyways, I won't do it again. It was 3 cases of vanilla Coke Zero for $10. So,
Hey.
yeah.
That's a good price.
And my local grocery store that's 2 blocks away does not have vanilla Coke Zero at all.
Probably because they got standards. I mean,
Well,
they're small.
They are small.
Sorry, I don't like Coke Zero. I can tell. I don't even like mixing it with alcohol.
So
Wow.
that's me.
But yeah, so I am drinking a version of what I call the bad day at work, which officially is a orange Fanta from your favorite fast food place that you've drank a little bit on the way home, and you get home and you just pour vodka into it, and that becomes your drink. Let's just say I had a couple of those these past 2 weeks. And yeah, so I'm drinking orange Fanta with vodka because I don't have standards. Gonzo, what are you drinking? I'm sure it's high class.
Yeah, it's so high class. It comes right out of the refrigerator because it's water.
Water. Still on the water, huh?
Yeah, because of the sickness, I just got to stay on the water a little bit
that's
longer.
right.
So I just can't drink any alcohol yet.
Sure
Stomach
you
is
could.
not.
You just take some vodka and mix it with orange Pedialyte, and you've got the
got the recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's probably not good. No, More Than Dice does not think that's a good idea for you to try that drink. Do not. That's
Do
a
not.
joke.
Oh, that sounds hideous.
It's a way to keep
So-
yourself hydrated while you're drinking.
I mean, I guess.
Don't do it, please don't. At least spring for the full orange juice, for fuck's sake, if you're going to do that. If you're going to make a screwdriver, at least spring for the orange juice. Oh.
So I am on water today. John, what are you on besides that? Are you just going to be drinking that all Fanta and...
Can you see the size of my cup compared to the size of my head?
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be done in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
No? If it is, we're going to have to hold it up, so let me tell you. Because these things are a little bit aggressive.
So...
Just a little.
So, guys, for the year in review, we want to thank you exactly for being here. And like I said, we don't do this, we don't make money off of this. We don't do all this cool little stuff because we're rich. We do it because y'all. So, this year is for y'all. Cheers.
Cheers.
Trying to fit it
Oh, water.
under my camera
I did my
and
mic,
not
but belching you. Here.
trying not to knock my paint over.
Skater into me. Oh, Banian. Don't drink that much.
Drink
That's
it all.
the solution. Don't drink that much. Pace yourself. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, sir.
So, we decided to do our year review because, of course, we're going to be gone next week, and then that'll mean the new year is up. And we'll be back. I think it's like the 6th. I think is what it is.
Oh, we're skipping 2 weeks.
Is it 2 weeks? I thought it
I
was.
think we did that last year too, didn't we?
Yeah, because the 1st is a
New Year's.
Tuesday.
No, the 6th is right on it.
It's-
We have a 30th. Sorry, totally forgot about it. Duh. So yeah, we won't be on next week. Maybe the week after.
Yeah, I'm
We
sure
should be on.
that's okay.
So we'll be doing that. So we decided to do our year in review now in case something happens, in case everybody decides to just kind of crash and go to sleep. And so we wanted to talk about what were cool, what were the good, bad, lows, highs, all that stuff for 2018. And
Generally speaking.
do what?
I said hobby related, generally
Hobby
speaking.
related, yeah.
Yeah.
And mine, besides the podcast doing really cool and really awesome, because I think that it's just like super, super awesome for me. One of my really big highs this year was getting into the Invitational. about 2 years ago, whenever I was talking with my friend Kim, that she was like, "Why don't you try to go for it?" And I was like, I'll try." And so my first year after that, it was kind of a downer, and I didn't do it. Life changes things, so I didn't try it. And so this year I tried, and actually tried hard, and went as hard as I could to try to get in. And I didn't care if I went past the first round. My goal was to just get into the Invitational once. And I did. And I was super happy about that. It was like one of my cool highs of the year. So,
Well, setting a hobby goal
hobby,
and making it is always good.
yeah. And also only playing one faction all year, too. That was another one I decided I would try to do. And I did because I played Grimkin all year.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you saw Grimkin all the time.
Yeah, I played Grimkin the entire year. Didn't jump off of it, stayed on it. And that was another big hobby
And I'm
working goal of
convinced it's
mine.
actually somewhat related to you getting into the Invitational because it gets you that good understanding of the faction.
Good
Sure.
playthrough, yeah. Good working time. No ADD on me at all. So, I mean, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. It was neat to travel to a bunch of different places. It was neat to meet a lot of cool people, see a bunch of cool different stores and events, and of course, then come down for War Machine Weekend 15 and play an Invitational. And then start up a brand new cool thing coming up with War Machine Weekend next year. So that's like my really big high this year. Hobby related, game related, whatever you want to say. So,
Well,
Kathy, what was yours?
Haha. I didn't actually have much prepared here for that. I wasn't quite sure what we were talking about. So I apologize. Well, I got a crap ton of stuff painted. The Geller Pox have been very fun. That's been a high point because I haven't painted GW stuff in a long time. So it's been really fun. And so thank you, John, for sending me those Geller Pox. I've been having a lot of fun with them. And I'm
awesome.
hoping I get to actually play a game with them in 2019.
Oh shit!
You know, an actual game. I'll bring them to Adepticon just in case, and maybe they'll even be done by then. Yeah. At Gen Con, I discovered the Warhammer card game, Age of Sigmar Champions,
Mhm.
and so I've been playing that. I've actually met a lot of, I mean, if you can say met, I quote unquote met on the Discord server, like this community of people that are, for the most part, really fun people. They're friendly, they're interested in promoting the game, they're interested in sharing ideas, you know, with strategies and stuff. And that's like not being a card game person at all. I didn't know that people were like that with card games. So it's kind of been a new thing for me. Yeah, I don't really have much else. I didn't prepare for that at all.
Fair enough.
I'm just painting rust.
Oh well,
Oh,
my year in review, of course, centers around getting through an entire year of Hobby Streak, which was my goal, and
Yeah.
it's one of the few times I've reached a hobby goal in the past couple of years. So that's very important for me because, I mean, I keep setting goals and not making it. You gotta. I'm just glad to make one, and it wasn't an easy one either. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, it's been a heck of a weird year gaming wise. I mean, saw me get into a couple different new games. Functionally get out of one, though not entirely. It's been weird.
What was the one that you functionally got out of?
War Machine. I played one game this year.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the locals aren't really playing it. I mean, we fill up a tournament, but there's no one playing it casually. So, I mean, what am I going to do? I'm not interested in spending the entire day playing this game right now. So, I don't play. And the guys, the local guys, the other crew, who want to play things very casually, aren't interested in getting into it to the level they would need to actually play. So I'm pretty much stuck.
Yeah. But you got all these other great games that you've been working on.
Yeah, well, that same crew plays the heck out
Infinity
of.
and Malifaux.
Yep. I mean, played some Age of Sigmar. We did some Malifaux at the beginning of the year, but that sort of stopped with my job change, and having to go down to Annapolis makes it a little more difficult. I mean, it doesn't sound too bad, but it can be an hour drive. And an hour drive after a long day of work is not bueno. And honestly, everyone's taking a break. Even the local henchman is now. I mean, he's streaming. We host him sometimes.
Huh.
That would be Will from What Will I Play. He's our local henchman, and everyone's sort of taking a break right now, which happens when you announce new edition. But did some good gaming there. Age of Sigmar, 40K, a lot of 40K. Star Wars Legion, Shadespire. There's a lot of good stuff out there now, and I mean, part of the year in review is good to see so many games hitting and doing a good job. You know, because Legion, I mean, did Legion technically come out this year? Last year?
It came out this year. It was released in February. It was released really at Adepticon is when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, I mean, that's pretty good for a year. Did good game came out. I mean, a little unfortunate. I think we're starting to see on the downside the fall of Kickstarter.
Yeah.
With a couple things failing and not delivering, a relatively medium-sized company failing pretty categorically.
Oh, yeah.
And then a large company failing categorically.
Which large company?
Well, it wasn't. I don't know that it was large. It was very well known.
Okay. Robotech Tactics.
Oh, yeah, Palladium Books is not really.
Well, okay, big name. How about that?
They're more of that obstinate guy who keeps producing stuff, even though their heyday has well passed them by.
Yeah.
I can't go on a rant on that because Palladium Books they have not been on the cutting edge of role-playing games in probably about 20 plus years. They keep the same system, just updating it minor bit, which, you know, I guess if that's what people want, that's what they want. And they put out a lot of source books and a lot of good quality source books, good background information, but the game isn't there to support it. But, I mean, as I said, role players can have fun with all sorts of games, so who cares, you know? Mm-hmm. They're having fun, it's all good. But yeah, them and Ninja Division failed on Robotech Kickstarter, though part of it is also because they lost the license. Without that, they might have actually been able to actually eventually fill that. But we're seeing the fall of that. Another company, the guys who do portable warfare miniature cases, which I have several of, they had a Kickstarter I didn't even hear about, and they had to cancel it before the end because it just didn't work. But I think we're starting to see the end. We're starting to see the end of Kickstarter as a viable function for everyone.
Yeah.
You're going to actually have to bring it now with Kickstarter, which is good because it shouldn't be. Hopefully, Cool Mini or Not's in terrible shape. I don't know if we reported on this at all or talked about it, but
I haven't heard about this.
Where is it? I got stats somewhere. They've lost a shit ton of money. Where is it? Cool Mini stock reported losses of $4.1 million in the 9 months from January 1 to September 2018.
Wow.
That's a lot of money for a company to lose, and they can't afford to lose money like that. But to be fair, Cool Mini or Not is one of those few companies that's using Kickstarter as a pre-order system and cutting. I don't say they're cutting the friendly game stores out of the loop because they're not really. That's not. But they're hurting local game stores, and so local game stores aren't pushing their stuff. So, I mean, it's they're finally reaping the results of that.
Yeah.
Plus, they have a very shiny quarter sort of look on things. As Gonzo knows, you played Wrath of Kings,
Yes.
and
So
that
on
they
a
just,
sizable army too.
yeah, they just nope, no more. Psh, they stopped it. I mean, Dust had the rise and fall of the Dust almost, or not Dust, Dark Age almost this year. I mean, almost had that both rise and fall just this year.
Huh.
Did they finally cancel Wrath of Kings?
I haven't heard they canceled it, but they haven't put anything out for a while.
No.
Local stores aren't carrying it. It is what it is.
That kind of is interesting because that kind of affects Adepticon too.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't they provide all the price support for Crystal Brush?
They do.
Yeah.
But we'll hear about that when we hear about that. But that's sort of the down, where we see some down, but we also see some up. There's a lot of good games out there, a lot of inventive games out there. A lot of stuff we're waiting to see how it goes. I mean, even the ones that fail are still, they're still trying. They're not. I mean, I think Palladium is the only one who said, we can't do this, we're out. Most of the rest are still trying to fill something. So, I mean, fair dinkum for that, for trying to fill it, but that's sort of the industry thing, I mean, we've seen over the past couple of years the reemergence of GW, the sort of fall of is that fair? Yeah, the fall of Privateer Press. I mean,
I
they've
wouldn't
gone
say
down.
it's a fall,
I
but
think
I mean,
Mantic Games has kind of fallen by the wayside with a lot,
Who is it?
with their
Mantic?
Mantic, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. But I think that's really all related. GW rose back up, so
Yeah, huh?
everyone
People
who
went
had
back.
benefited from it, from them doing things wrong,
Yeah.
aren't
Oh,
benefiting
yeah,
anymore.
exactly. That's
And guys, I would call it a fall because Private Press was a big company. I can't really call them a big company anymore. They're one of the medium-sized guys now, which is not bad. I don't want to say it's bad. Stumble. That's a good way, Leisure. The stumble of Privateer Press.
sure.
That's a nicer way of putting it.
yeah, because GW really, really stepped up their game this year.
They're doing not everything right, but they're doing so many things right.
They are.
And it just makes everyone else look so bad when you're not. You're like, look, GW is there. And some companies are following the old GW playbook, which is a problem. Yeah, it's true,
Yeah.
Congo. Mantic did just release a skirmish game, but there's no buzz. I have a copy.
I didn't even hear about it.
I have a copy.
I mean, not that I have my finger on the pulse, but I didn't hear anything about that.
Well, they were selling half-price rule books, and I cannot argue with a half-price rule book. Plus, we saw some of those models. I sent you links to them. They were really cool. So that's another good thing I was looking at is, Spartan Games. They
went under.
But didn't Tabletop Combat pick up their stuff?
Somebody picked them up, but we haven't heard anything since they picked them up, so we don't even know if it's going anywhere.
Yep. So it's an interesting time. Interesting time in the games for us. For a year in review is it's the rise and fall of games. It seems more like the '90s nowadays, with GW being the undisputed king, and a lot of guys getting bringing up some good games, and mostly vying for third place. I'd say second place, but let's be honest, FFG. I mean,
Still second place.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
If you've got the license for Star Wars and you're making miniature games for Star Wars, you're second place.
Pretty much.
So, but that's interesting, and they're doing stuff right. They, they're not really saying anything about Armada, but it's not gone. They just put out a Super Star Destroyer coming up out soon, so that's still there. They've got Legion releases coming. They just released the Royal Guard and the Emperor.
Yep, picked them up.
Chewie and the Wookiees are coming out soon.
Nice.
Sounds like a good band, Chewie and the Wookiees.
Chewie and the Wookiees. It's like Josie and the Pussycats.
Death metal. Definitely death metal.
Definitely death metal.
And a lot of other cool stuff they've announced on there. They got Death Troopers and Rebel, what they call Pathfinders, and Jin and Krennic.
2 new factions.
One stuff coming out. And I mean, we saw them announce for multiple games, Clone Wars stuff
Yep.
for X-Wing and Legion. Not for Armada, which is not really surprising because that probably takes a lot more work to make that come together. And who knows what they're thinking about? I don't have. Well, if I did know, I wouldn't be allowed to say if I knew anything about that.
Well, we do know that they are bringing out 2 new factions for Legion.
For Legion, yes. For
yeah.
Legion, not, but for Armada is the one I'm not sure if they're working on that or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, Legion's going well. I mean, X-Wing just had their second edition, and the Power Gamers are all crying, so it has to be okay. Sort of interesting. They're following they still have print cards and stuff, so you can do sort of casual play and stuff. But they also have an app if you want to go full on points. Legionnaires' new factions are clones and Republic. Sorry, droids and Republic.
Droids. Yeah.
So technically, the Confederation of Independent States and the Republic. So that'll be interesting to see what they do with that. But that's probably
Darth Maul.
Great. The second most overrated character in all of Star Wars. They couldn't really do Scum for Legion because Scum shouldn't really be able to compete with the real factions for Legion. Because at the end of the day, they are just Scum. But that would be
They're
interesting.
just a bunch of disparate
They're not going to fight a
people.
war.
They're not
gonna,
like a group.
They're going to cut and run. There's no profit in war.
Maybe
On the
they're
other
mercenaries.
hand,
Yeah.
if you're hiring yourself out, yeah, like mercenaries to the highest, bidder.
Maybe you could hire, they could do a mercenary type force which couldn't play independently but could work for either faction.
Yeah, they could do more. That's interesting for the future. That might be a hut and armor.
Hut and armor.
I can't even imagine.
There could
Prodding
just-
along.
I think it's just a matter of finding the right canon stuff to make them a faction.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I mean, clones and droids should be good enough. I mean, who doesn't want to see droid decas and stuff, and
Gungans.
Obi-Wan and all those guys, all those Clone Wars guys everyone loves.
And Gungans running
Well, what's
around.
interesting is if you get to see Anakin Skywalker, so you can have Anakin Skywalker fight Darth Vader, because that doesn't blow your mind. So yeah, they're in a crazy good place. They have so much good stuff. And I mean, crap. Even Private Press, Monster Apocalypse came out. It's getting good reviews.
Yep.
They're announcing new stuff. I mean, FFG also did Keyforge, which is not really in our normal purview of miniature games, but
People seem to really enjoy that.
like I said, it's a license to print money. And they're doing a good job with that. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. It's very interesting.
Many or not did just come out with but they had a Kickstarter and they've released other stuff for the Song of Ice and Fire game, which may get them back on the right track. It seems like it's an interesting game.
I've heard good things from my buddy Petey. As I say, I don't have a horse in that race because I don't give a flying F.
We have a
about
bunch
Game
of
Thrones.
horses in that race actually right now, so
So,
I don't know if I'll actually get to play some games of it or not, though.
I would much rather see a much more. Oh, this is going to sound harsh, but don't take it harshly. A much more classic books brought to something like that, something like Dragonland, something full-on fantasy. And I know
Yeah,
FFG tried with Rune Wars,
Yeah, Rune Wars.
but it's going, but it doesn't seem like it's going very well everywhere. So it's
No.
sort
yeah,
of
no.
It's kind
hit a
of
niche. It was a weird thing, I don't think it was what necessarily people wanted. It was a little too weird. It's hard to tell nowadays what people want. Do they want a skirmish game? Do they want, as Kathy called, a battle game, or do they want an actual full-on army game? I feel like the battle game's where it's at, but GW, they're going to push army games because that's their shit.
Yep.
But they put out Kill Team, the second Shadespire expansion with magic in it, Blackstone Fortress, which Super Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings came
Oh
back
yeah,
out.
the Middle Earth game.
I
Yeah,
could be convinced to play that, but none of my locals want to, so we're going to stick right now.
that's too bad.
I'm running Age of Sigmar slow growth, so it's unlikely we'll get a lot of push with that because
Yeah.
Something else to bring up is I notice a lot of stores, and not every store, but a lot of stores, rather than pushing games themselves, they're just throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks, and hoping the community pushes it.
Yeah. Our local store does that now. He's like, there's way too many games. There's too much. I can't push everything. So if you want something played, you bring it up, and then we'll support you.
That's kind of what it seems like, yeah, because there's a lot of people in the champions community that are saying, there's not any organized play stuff going on for this. It seems
You
like
got to
game
bring it.
stores are only doing organized play stuff for, Magic, the old staple.
Yeah, well,
And but like you said, they're expecting people to say, if you can get a community to come here, then we will bring you the game. But you have to basically grow your own community before the game store is going to really, which is kind of difficult, but
it is. It is sort of the opposite. In some stores, my local store included, aren't doing enough when there are people playing a game. They're like, example, I'm running Slow Grow for Age of Sigmar. They fully support it, but they're still going to take part of the entry fees and not give me anything for it. To which I nominally think that is guaranteed table space. I will converse with the gentleman in charge of such, who's an old GW guy, an old buddy of mine, to make sure, because if not, then that shit's just not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
Because, but, that's the thing. I did a whole minis and movies on it is, if there's no one there running a game you want to go big, you're going to have to run the game. You're going to have to stand up and be the standard for that game, the champion.
yeah.
And it's a pain in the ass because we have lives nowadays. It's not like the old days when we were all young kids. Able to spend all our time doing that, had much easier jobs where you just come in, do your job, and leave. Not a lot of everything else. Nowadays, we're adults with adult stuff, and it's harder. So, but you got to do what you can. If you want the game to succeed, you might have to put some time into it.
Yeah.
Some of your own time.
Yep, some of your own time. It's tough. Things might have to go by the wayside. Like, honestly, I find myself with less and less time to watch movies and TV and stuff if I want to spend time doing games. And that's another thing for the year, if you will, the rise of so much awesome media you cannot keep up. Seems this year in particular, there's just so many things going on. Like Netflix brought their A game, like here's more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. It's just crazy.
Oh, there's a new thing on Netflix I want to see. It's a Netflix original movie called Mowgli, which is based on not the Disney Jungle Book, but the Rudyard
actual
Kipling
Jungle Book?
Book, and that looks like it'd be fun. There's a
I
lot of
will have
interesting
the-
actors they have for voice actors.
I will have a review for you today, Kathy.
Oh, cool. I was actually going to watch that yesterday, only we were trapped at the hair salon.
Trapped at the hair salon.
Yeah, we were held hostage, my friend Jen and I, at the hair salon.
That
I
sounds
won't
like
go
an
into
episode
it
of
now.
Mediocre Trouble in the Big Easy. Trapped at the hair salon.
That totally could be an adventure. For us, it was kind of boring, though.
Yeah. But yeah, so Crimson asked if will there ever be another successful army scale game not from GW? Probably not.
Another different one that's not the one of the two main ones, or Lord of the Rings? Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
probably not. It's hard to get people to want to play that many models.
It's hard for people to pay for that many models.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless you're doing like some really good trades, it's really hard to pay for large scale games anymore.
It's really hard. Because also, it's more than that. People are more forgiving the less models it is.
Yes.
If the game has some errors, some flaws, look at like a Batman. It's a very gimmicky game. But you only need a handful of models, so people are a lot more lenient with, like, yeah, sure, it's gimmicky, but cool, it's a fun thing. I've got like 5 models, I'm done. Like, oh, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
But then as you get higher number of models, you've got to get tighter with the rules. And that's where it starts to become a little bit of a problem. So, maybe not. But we'll have to see. That's be for next year to see if anyone even tries.
There's been so many comings and goings of games that it's weird to stick with what you want to play what you bought.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the Batman game is plenty cool and plenty fun, but nobody plays it. And I think that to me is the real kicker of everything.
That's when you've got to get your force painted yourself and get out there on the table with the one buddy who will play with you, and you got to play it and show people what's there and it's a thing.
Correct.
It's old days, the old Outrider days. For those of you grognards out there with me, when you go to local conventions, however small, local stores, and you just demo whatever the hell game it is that you're demoing. I mean, I've helped Outriders in the past, was never actually an Outrider. I was a field agent for Agents of Gaming for the Babylon 5 Wars Starship Combat game.
Oh, cool.
Did everything I could for them. Another one unfortunately failed. I've helped demo a ton of games, and sometimes we just got to take it on ourselves because that's sort of where we're coming to. You know, I like to blame the stores for not pushing anything, and to be fair, they should see a game that they want to see succeed, and they should be willing to try and get something in there. If an employee's got an interest in it, that's a good place to start. You can push and try and get people into the game. Have your employee run something. Maybe you're running light on staff for a little bit. I don't know. A lot of game stores don't have a lot of staff, but you got to do something. Or maybe you just communicate with your local community group. I remember back in the day at Games Workshop, we had a local club, and we called the Wolf Pack, and we would sit with the manager of the local GW store and say, okay, cool, what do you need from us for support? And then we'd tell them what he can do for us to help us. And we've had it a couple times, and maybe we need to go back to that. Maybe we need to adopt the UK model. Maybe it needs time for the gaming club to come back. Even if it is a bunch of you guys just playing together and having a common goal, that gives you multiple guys to share the load. Like, all right, guys, I ran this, Age of Sigmar slow grow. You so-and-so, you're in charge of the tournament now. You know, get the stuff ready, get the rules ready, get that to the store owner so we can get ready to go. Was the PG program in the WotC lawsuit this year? I think it was this year.
No,
it might have been last year.
Last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember we were...
Oh, yeah, that was last year.
Which is funny because it ended up being much ado about nothing since that lawsuit did not pan out the way the guys wanted it to.
Yeah. But still,
PP also said they couldn't afford to keep doing that, which is understandable. They couldn't afford to. Unfortunately, I feel like that has hurt PP probably more than anything else.
Yeah.
Crimson also says it feels like a ton of new paint lines have come out.
Oh my god, I know.
It is. I mean,
I was talking to Jim about this. I'm like, what is it with all these different new paint lines from all these different companies? It's nuts. I mean, it's cool, but there's a lot of it.
Yeah, it is a lot. I'm about to try out this Scale 75 stuff I got eventually. I've had it for a couple months now, but that's how I am.
We were testing out the Slow Fuse Gaming ones. They're connected to Creature Caster.
Okay.
And Jim's actually been using those. I've only used the coal black as a to paint around my bases because I paint like around the bottom to my base is black always. And so I used that on a couple models. Normally I use the Stynylrez black primer because that's pretty matte. But this coal black from Slow Fuse, I don't remember what the actual paints are, but it's Slow Fuse Gaming that makes them.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, it was like a black hole, eating all light. It was so matte.
Well, that's good. I mean...
but that's my only review because I haven't had a chance to really play with any of the other colors yet because Jim has them all in another room where he does his videos and stuff. So...
talking about that, I also got 2 new sets of primers. I went and got those Stynylrez white and black, by the way, so I could use those on my airbrush. And then I also have those fluorescents coming that you had told me about, the fluorescent colors. They had a pack of all of them. And I was like, ooh, I'll get all of those at once. And
Yeah, if you
then
have any questions about that, just shoot me a message or whatever, because there can be a bit of a learning curve with those fluorescents.
yeah, because I tried to. I'm gonna try them out because I've heard good stuff, but I've never done it, and everybody talks about it. For lining, I went and it was like only $7 to get a set of the Gundam marker pens for doing
I
like
haven't
inline.
tried those yet.
I haven't either, and it was like I don't mind wasting. I can waste $7 on
Oh,
trying out markers that
speaking
lets
of
me go in line.
Gundam, Secret Weapon is coming out with a new line of paint
Yeah, I saw that they're
called
doing.
Mecha, and
Yep,
that's for
they announced that early this year, I think, and they're having very,
they did, and they're finally
very
yeah,
four-color comic booky.
well, that's for the gunplay.
Gunpla.
Yeah, that's for that kind of stuff. And then they're coming out with another line of more artist colors as opposed to the weathering and the engine weathering technical paints and stuff. These are more artist colors, so I imagine it's going to be more like what you see from Golden Acrylic or any of the artist paints where it's phthalo green or ultramarine blue or just normal art colors.
Well, I know that someone is coming out with new color shift paints that are stateside.
So there's a company called Turbo Dork.
Yeah, I was about to talk about them because Gonzo brought them up.
Yeah, and my friend Ned is using a ton of that on his stuff that he's been painting and posting on our card game Discord of all places, because we have our own little channel where we talk about miniature painting on there, and they look really cool.
I love the names.
Yeah,
The names are legit. I don't know how good the paints are, but when you've got a color called All That Glitters, I'll let you guess what actual color that is.
he's doing, my friend Ned. He's doing his Gasland Warfare's cars,
Mm-hmm.
his Hot Wheels painting with those, and they look really cool. He shoots them from a bunch of different angles so you can see the different, the shift of colors, and they really look neat.
Yeah, because I'm planning on doing a color shift for my giant beetle for Sylvaneth. Doing the carapace and a
Oh,
color
yeah,
shift like
yeah.
blue green or whatever. That's what I want to do with that. And since I got the airbrush, I can do that
There
a
is
little
one
bit
of
easier.
those Turbo Dork colors that Ned used on his car, and it would be perfect for that. I'll have to see which color it is. I'll ask him.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of paints coming out. No idea how long they'll last because let's be honest, that's a tough thing to get into.
Yeah.
Because there are so many paints out there,
It's fighting with the
and
big boys.
you really got to make a good product, or be easier to get, or be something like. I think the only reason Vallejo hasn't really taken off entirely is because holy crap, kind of colors really intimidate somebody. So.
I guess I could see that. Like if you feel like you need to get an entire paint set at a time.
Or just because you're like, what color do I need? I just need a green. Holy fuck balls.
Oh yeah, which green? Well, it's a warm green, and can we narrow it down further? Yeah, that gets to be crazy.
Yeah, no doubt. And, oof. So interesting to see how they all go. Apparently the Reaper HD is being discontinued, and Reaper Bones paints are new.
I think they're taking the HD paints and basically rebranding them something else. Like, I don't think they're killing the colors. I think they're just killing the HD.
That's another one I'm surprised hasn't hit more, because I think it's just because retailers don't pick them up because they have a really great progression of paints.
I love the HD ones. I have a few in front of me right now. This Maiden Flesh is one of these ones that we will be very sad to see go, because we use the hell out of that color, like, all the time.
Yeah. So let's just see how that goes. There's a lot of companies come and go for uh, gaming accoutrement, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nowadays it's with these how easy it is to get 3D printers and laser cutters and all that. There are people putting out all sorts of MDF and better than MDF terrain and stuff all over the place.
Oh man, when I went to recruits this year, there was a guy. There was one guy in the main vendor hall that was selling 3D printed Star Wars stuff for Legion. And then there was two others on another one, and they were doing 3D prints of pretty much all terrain stuff for all games. And it's like I was like, man, I need to get into this because I mean, I could just make my own terrain and not have to worry about it. Because
That's what Marshall does.
I mean, there's. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's more accessible.
No, it's not. It is more accessible. It's also it's good because if someone designs it, you can have. I mean, if someone designed just the piece you need, like, oh, I need that piece.
Yes.
Like I'm using the GF9, some of the Tatooine terrain. You know, Marshall's got some things for more Tatooine buildings. I might have to hit him up for that. You know, makes it easier to get terrain for a local group. Having someone in your local group have that is great.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people selling lots of great terrain online now, and lots of great extra stuff. You need a paint rack, or there's a guy, the same guy who sells Portable Warfare, doing like painting stations, like the old GW one, just made from really good material. And it's good to see. We'll be seeing a lot of that stuff in the new year too, as the technology gets easier to use and they're more familiar with it.
Yep. More data files come out for 3D printing. Yep.
Tokens, and people realize what games need. People realize certain games they have been using tokens with need tokens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at you, Games Workshop players. Especially you, the one who posted, like, I'd like to play Legion, but I just don't want to move tokens all over the place on a board. Like, you probably should be with your army. You're just not. And making me remember everything you did. Sorry, anyways. So yeah, it's been a heck of a year. Mostly good, some bad.
Did see the new game, and I know you don't play it, John, but the new card game Keyforge came out and is like going crazy.
Yep, I said earlier, license to print money.
Yep, because I just recently saw it, and I know just because I don't understand it. I do, but I'm just like, there's no way I would do that.
Uh-huh.
Someone paid $1,800 for a deck of cards.
Some people got to win.
And I'm just like, holy crap, that's...
well, there's these pro circuits for, and I know it sounds weird, but for card games, and the mind boggles, but, that's the thing.
Yep, it is. And, if you got the money to spend on it, more power to you. I'm just like, whoa.
I actually feel that Sealed is going to be the best format for that, but, I mean, if there's enough people out there, they'll start a pro circuit.
Oh, they will. There'll be a pro circuit. I guarantee it.
It feels more even. It's like, well, all I can do is get good, and I just got to find the right deck, and then I can win. Like, yeah, that's possible. But I mean, it's crazy. It's funny that there's only been a handful of real, like, big sort of card games come out, and only one of them's been collectible, because only the Champions one's a collectible, right? Because Keyforge isn't collectible at all.
What about the Transformers one?
Yeah, I said big.
They got big.
My local Paul bought Transformers. He says good things about it, but it just hasn't hit big.
Yeah.
I don't think it will. It's not really being marketed. It's not being pushed.
Honestly,
like, say a lot of things with FFG, like, they don't know how to write a rule book worth of shit, but man, if they cannot put out a game and pimp the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
They know how to market. Now, if someone can just teach them how to write a good rule book.
I mean,
it's not easy. It takes a lot of people with specific skill sets to write a rule book, and it's not always to have that kind of guy on your staff. But still, some of theirs are a bit egregious. But in any case, again, good year. I think overall good year gaming wise. Lots of good stuff coming out. Some bad, but it's going to happen in any year. I feel like the good outnumbered the bad so far.
I mean, next year we have for War Machine and Hordes, we have the Infernals coming out, which I don't know if anybody's looked at any of the concept art and some of the models that they've previewed. Those are seriously cool. Don't know what the rules are. We haven't heard that, but some of those models are. If you like demon or demon type stuff, that's your
Hmm.
that's your go-to. It's got some really cool models. I'm digging it. Looking forward to the new Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff. And then, I mean, looking forward to next edition of Malifaux. Probably hit for Adepticon-ish. That's where they tend to aim anyways, because if I'm going to debut a game, I'm going to aim for Adepticon.
Yeah.
It's just smart.
That seems to be the way for tabletop games.
You get all the hype.
Yep.
People go to Adepticon and they want to be hyped.
Well, I know when I went and Legion was there, people were waiting in line to demo the game. So I mean, that's what you want. You want people standing in line waiting to try the game out.
That's always a good feeling.
Yeah. So I thought it was really cool. But
So there you go. Overall, a really good year.
yeah, okay, I agree with that. What time is it, John?
Considering you have 7,000 things to talk about, probably time to start the media section.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me get this last bit of stuff on here. Because I got one more model to get this last bit of wash on.
Uno Mas!
Uno
I'm
mas!
just gonna keep painting. I've graduated from rust to skin.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get this last bit of...
Quite interesting, Kathy, how you're not necessarily painting inside out
I'm not painting inside out.
like they recommend. Paint the
Skin.
deepest parts and all first, then out to the stuff on top.
Oh God, no. No, I kind of paint the opposite.
I mean, you're an expert.
You know what I've learned though, and it's taken me a long time to learn this, is that anytime I do highlights over something I've already painted, you get that chalkiness.
Yep.
You know? So I decided I'm gonna paint my highlights first, then I'm gonna glaze down from that my midtones and my shading. Because my midtones and my shading, I never have that problem with because they don't have any white, or they don't have as much white in the pigment, and it's the white that causes that chalkiness. So, yeah, highlights first, and then, you know, sometimes I don't follow that lesson that I learned, you know, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes I regret it. But yeah, so for the most part, I paint inside out now, or outside in. Anyways, I highlight, and then I glaze midtones, and then I shade. Or I do midtones, and then I highlight, and then I shade. And then I do more midtones.
All right, so I have technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to go. Since we missed last week's. So
Why is
That's
it in one
good.
set? 8 is enough.
8 is
Yeah.
enough. So I'll go with my first one.
You go
Okay.
ahead.
Someone else on Facebook mentioned to me that a gorse is a thorny ground cover native to Scottish and Welsh Highlands. That's
Well, there
nasty.
you go.
They're still geese. Barb venom geese. Go ahead,
That's
Gonzo.
what John calls them. Don't tell him he's wrong.
I did watch Pacific Rim Uprising,
Okay.
which is the newest Pacific Rim.
Yeah, the sequel. Ish.
And it wasn't bad.
That's a fair
It
assessment.
wasn't the greatest, of course, but if
That's
you're
cool.
expecting that, you shouldn't be watching that anyway. It was a good little action flick. Some of the stuff is, you're like, yeah, I get it. Special effects are really good. And it was on HBO, so spoilers, I don't care. But the hybrid mecha alien creatures were cool as shit looking.
Yep.
I got a very Evangelion feel from the show. There was a little bit of corny spots in it and stuff, but overall it was a pretty decent movie.
I feel like it should have been a Netflix
2.5,
series instead,
you'd be
honestly.
really pushing to go for 3 space herpes on it. But I mean, if you just want to watch giant robots beat the crap out of each other in a very mediocre plot, that's your show for you. because
Yep.
it was good and fun. I didn't have any big issues with it at all. So I'm happy with it.
But to be fair, last week or 2 weeks ago, before we watched it, he did see Atlantic Rim, so it was
Anybody
only
else?
going up from there.
Hold on.
You might as well go for 2, Gonzo. I only have 2, and Kathy has probably 1 or 0.
Oh, okay, sorry, my
I may have
volume was
zero.
turned down. I was like, who is there? Who is there? Okay, so let's go ahead and go with the next one. Kathy, I did watch Mowgli,
Mowgli?
yeah, on the Netflix show. Thought it was. I was waiting for it. I was like, yes, this is cool because I love the story. There is no singing and dancing, just so everybody knows. It is more serious. But my biggest issue, I'm not going to talk about the story yet, is the way it was filmed. It is way too dark. There is too...
Like so
You
long.
mean like just the lighting?
Yes, the lighting, not story. I don't mind a dark story. It is filmed way too dark that you can barely see things that are going on. I'm just like, this is way too dark, guys. I mean, I'm like, what's happening? It was just filmed very dark on a lot of different things. There was way too much going on for it to be as dark as possible. Story-wise, it was okay. Action-wise, it was cool. The animals looked good. They didn't look really horrible. I'm not sure if like some of the creatures were added in from the original story to be comic relief, but there was that. It was okay. I would say probably like a 2.5 to 3 space herpes, but I'd lean a little bit more towards 3 because it was so hard to watch because some of the best scenes were so dark you couldn't see what was going on.
That's true.
And I was like, oh, come on, guys. We could have had, this could have been really cool, nice and bright and everything. But,
Are you sure you're doing Mowgli, not Solo?
yeah. This was really, really filmed really, really dark.
Yeah.
I mean, it was...
Problem there, film directors. Don't do that shit.
Yeah. It was really hard to see, and I was really upset with it because I like the story. I like all the character stuff and everything, but it was really way too dark in some stuff that you could barely see what was going on. So overall, it wasn't bad. I could have watched something else and been happier. Type thing. So
Do you want to go for a third? Then I'll do 1. Then you can do some more. Then I'll do 1. Then you can finish it out.
okay, I guess. I watched the new Tomb Raider also.
Okay.
Which is the new kind of reboot, if you want to say,
Reboot, yeah.
or reimagining, or whatever you want to call it. And you see a more realistic Laura Croft. She's not making these 80 million jump backflip, flying through the air, shooting guns, blowing things up type person.
What's the fun of that?
Yeah, I know. It was a little bit more realistic.
It's a lot like the newer game, too, though, to be honest.
Yes, it is. So you can tell where it was leaning onto it because I played the newer game and I was playing this and I was watching this and I was like, oh yeah, this is okay. Yeah, I get it. More realistic version. Using bows more than guns. Has some pretty decent scenes in it. Some really cool characters.
The most important question is, how cool was Walton Goggins?
Who's that guy again?
He was the bad guy.
Oh, I love him. I can never remember his name. He's one of my favorite actors from like Sons of Anarchy and all that stuff and everything.
Justified.
Justified, everything. I love him. He plays such a great character and everything he does.
He's a great character actor. I love to see it when he gets in the movie.
Yeah. When he's there, I know we're going to have some pretty crazy character. He was really good. The girl that played Laura Croft, she was good. It was interesting. They did play the twist on, whether this was a magical thing they were going after or, a fable. And, of course, they played off of some fable of someone in real life, which I thought was kind of cool because I actually went back and looked. After it was over, I was like, ooh, what's the real story of this character in the real world? And it was neat to see that and look it up and do all that type of things.
Was it better or worse than the first Tomb Raider?
You know what? I don't think you can compare the two because that was a different time.
That's not fair. You
Uh,
absolutely can compare them. How many Casablancas do you give this movie?
I give it 0 Casablancas because it's not. It's just it was just meh. One thing that did annoy me is that they're sailing on this boat to get to this island that everybody dies before they get there, or their ships always wreck before they get there. If you know that happens, why do you always arrive at night?
Ah,
You're
Every
gonna hang out a little
show.
extra time and show up in the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Why didn't they just wait until the daytime? They just kind of, it's one of those movie things that kind of get on my nerves. I'm like, why didn't they just wait? This is an island they're going to that every time someone goes there, the ship crashes, everybody dies, blah, 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 story wise. Why didn't they just wait until the daytime to go? No, they got to wait in the middle of the night, and so everything's all spooky and, destroys ships, and, everybody almost dies. I'm like, that's kind of a movie thing. Just get away from that.
This stupid trope.
Yeah, just get away from that. It was just kind of. I even made that a note to myself. Island night, dumb.
Absolutely.
So I just thought it was stupid. But overall, I mean, it was okay. It was a good little action flick. It kept me entertained. So I mean, it wasn't bad. So Black says 2.5, 3. It's pretty much where everything's been going lately.
Fair enough. So my first movie is an older movie that was actually recommended by Brett Painter. That's that whole thing going around where it's 10 movies, only one picture from it.
Yeah.
10 movies that really, meant something to you or inspired you or really touched you. And one of the ones you choose was Bunraku, Bunraku from 2010 with Josh Hartnett, Woody Harrelson, Ron Perlman, and Demi Moore, amazingly, that I didn't notice. God, how do I explain this movie? It's got a very unique visual style to it. The whole basic idea is that it's post-apocalyptic, how man always, causes his own doom and all that, and how they've banned guns because they've had basically World War III, and now there's no guns allowed. And at one point, Woody Harrelson, who's sort of a mentor type to these guys, Ron Perlman's the bad guy, by the way, and
Ron Perlman.
explains the characters as a cowboy in a world with no guns and a samurai without a sword. And that's absolutely true. They're both after either Ron Perlman's character, who plays Nikolai, who's the biggest, baddest crime boss in the east of the Atlantic, as they say, or west of the Atlantic. I forget. West of the Atlantic. He's the biggest, baddest bad guy. And one is looking for a necklace for his father because his father's on his deathbed and asked him to retrieve it. And the other one is you don't really know till the end, but he's looking for vengeance. I mean, let's be honest. There's only one reason you do that, for vengeance. And it's an interesting little movie. It's a lot more style over substance, but it's a hell of a style. It's got some amusing fight scenes since, again, no gun, so it's all, In fact, only once does anyone actually fire a bow or anything, and that's the samurai guy towards the end. It's very enjoyable. It's not available for free anywhere. I actually had to purchase it, but it was well worth the purchase. It's interesting dialogue, interesting story. Not a lot of story, but what's there is interesting, and a very cool visual style. I give it 2 space herpes. It's not great, but it's very interesting. But it's one that I could definitely see someone watching and saying, that's not my thing. And I would not hold it against you. But to be honest, I really like Josh Hartnett in anything he's in. And it's too bad he's not in more. But apparently he's one of those actors who just really picky about what he goes in. So there you go. What is your next one there, Gonzo? Or your next 3?
1, 2, 3, 4 more. Against my better judgment, I did it anyway. I watched the Netflix Full Metal Alchemist version, the live action.
I've heard bad things about that.
There's good and bad. Of course, it's Netflix, but it's not really Netflix. They just brought it over because it was done overseas. And the coolest part about the whole thing is they use the original voice actors from the anime in the movie.
Huh.
So, because of course I can't watch subtitled, I just get too distracted. I can't do that. And so we had nothing but the original voice actors from the TV show, which I thought was really cool. I'm like, yeah, I recognize them. They sound right. Everybody sounds correct, so on and so forth. And so I'm watching it, and I'm like, these special effects are pretty crappy. These are pretty bad special effects. And as we know, it's about, full alchemy, and they get to move stones by, raising their hands and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is really, really bad. This is not good. Ed looks so fake. You're just sitting there like, the hair. Some of their costumes were just, it's like a high school prop made them type thing. And you're just like, especially Elric's hair is just like, no, no. Bad wig. Prop wise, bad. Story wise, it's pretty much one of the full. It takes a lot of the series and just condenses it down into a 2-hour special. Which doesn't really do it justice because there's a lot of cool story and a lot of cool things. It didn't have me entranced. The characters were not likable. They were all bland.
That's the worst, isn't it? When you can't like any of the characters.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I
when
mean,
you don't care if they live or they die.
yeah. Mustang.
Oh, I don't care.
Mustang was supposed to be, the character Mustang. He's one of my favorite of there, just because he's a cocky little bastard, and they didn't put any of that into his character. He just walked in and said, "Hey, I snapped my fingers. I catch something on fire. I'm cool." And I'm like, but I understand it's a 2 hours compared to, a series, so I can understand. But it was like, there was nothing really put into the characters. Even the classic jokes, about Ed being short and so on and so forth. And, mistaking people identities and stuff. It just didn't do well. It was very stiff acting too. And I was kind of disappointed because I was like, you could have done some really cool stuff with that. Even like I said, special effects were bad. I mean, real bad. So I'm pushing like 3.5 with this. Don't touch it. Just stay away from it. If you're a Full Metal Alchemist fan, just like block it if you can, or it doesn't exist in your mind.
That sounds like worse than 3.5. That sounds solid 4.
Yeah, I'd say it's getting close to 4. It's
block it from your mind. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Just don't do it.
Drink to forget.
Yeah, just don't go with it. Don't touch it because you would rather deal with the anime. Just go watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and enjoy it for what it is, and do the movies, and you'll be perfectly happy. Skip it.
Skip it indeed.
Skip it. Do I need to go for another one?
Sure.
Okay. I watched Rampage today.
Okay.
The Rock loosely based off the video game.
Very loosely.
Very loosely. They could have changed that name and people wouldn't have groaned as much. You know that?
Yeah, but they did get some of the parts in there.
It did.
They made as good a movie off the premise of the game Rampage as someone could.
Yeah. The Rock's character, he's a lovable character. Nice and fun. Always, a loving type guy. Very good. Love The Rock in this. Very funny. The guy's, he's one of those actors that you're just like, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, it's The Rock.
Yeah.
The main gorilla, George. The special effects was really cool on him.
Yeah.
They played some good jokes at the beginning, and you knew that what was going to happen at the end. You knew how things were going to go, but I mean, it was pretty solid. I was able to watch it without, I wasn't bored. There was a lot of decent scenes in it, a lot of cool special effects, a lot of cool people.
Did you enjoy Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the Fed?
Yes, he's one of my favorite actors too. I just like him.
He leaned all the way into it. It was
Yeah,
great.
he's such an asshole. But I mean, the characters were solid. I liked the characters. The Rock was fun. Jeffrey Dean was fun. Everybody was good.
Based on the premise, it was all very believable based off the premise they gave you.
Yeah. Everything happened for a reason. Special effects were really good.
Yeah.
I think they went a little overboard on the alligator with all the weird spiky things going all around. It was like just a little too much. But it's a minor thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The wolf, cool.
Yeah.
The bad guys,
Completely over the top.
Yeah, very, very over the top in their acting and in their.
They were like 80s or 90s corporate scumbag over the top.
Yeah. So it was just like, you kind of just didn't care for him too much, and you just didn't care for the whole thing about him. But I mean, overall, it was good. I'm pushing like a 2.5, maybe 2.5, because it was entertaining.
I think that's what I gave it when I had it. It's solid.
Yeah. Much better than I thought it was going to be. Because, I mean, you're basing a movie off of a video game where you play a monster destroying buildings.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's like basing a movie off a board game where all you're doing is sinking someone's battleship.
Yeah. I mean, how can you, do much? But, I mean, what they did was really good. The characters were nice. Characters were fun. It was interesting. I mean, it's free on HBO right now, so if you have HBO, go watch it. Have a good time with it. There's some good one-lines. There's some good comic stuff in it. George provides most of it, so, I mean...
Yes.
You just got to watch it to see it, or it ruins it.
It's another good one where the hero and the female protagonist have obvious sparks, but doesn't actually... Not like love at first sight bullshit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it did good. I enjoyed it.
Mine in action movies. So. All right, so I guess I'll talk about one. Unlike yours, where it was better than expected, this movie was exactly what I expected from it, and that is The Hurricane Heist. I had wanted to catch this in a cheap theater when it came out, but apparently I missed it. And now it's on Netflix for free, so I figured, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. I'm certain the elevator pitch went something like this, like, all right, you know how everyone loved Twister, good disaster movie, the winds, and all that cool stuff you can do with that? Well, yeah, that sounds great. Let's add that to a heist movie, something like Hard Rain. And they're like, yeah, let's make that shit. Here's your money. And I know you're saying, like, what's Hard Rain? I've reviewed Hard Rain. It is... Whew, it's a thing that happened. And this movie is basically Twister with Hard Rain added together. You just pushed them both together, took out a couple bits, and like, boom, here's our movie. Like, literally. The whole premise is there's a federal facility where they shred old money. And they're delivering money to it, and there's a hurricane coming. A big hurricane. Now, the weather service said it's only going to be, like, Category 2, but... one of the protagonists, Will, he's like, no, man, I'm telling you, this is going to be, like, bigger than any other hurricane ever. Because my daddy was killed by a hurricane in 1992, and I saw it, and I know hurricanes. To be fair, he is actually a scientist. He's a meteorologist. And he's driving around in, those tornado chaser vehicles?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Well, apparently he's doing the hurricane version of that. I don't know. But it doesn't really break your suspension of disbelief because this hurricane functions like a fucking tornado too. Like, Lily, I don't know if the writer of this movie or the director, Rob Cohen, the director of such wonderful things like Triple X and Fast and the Furious and Van Helsing and fucking Stealth understands how hurricanes work, but apparently they work just like tornadoes. It's just huger than a tornado, and it's got rain, lots of rain too.
Lots and lots of rain.
So the whole idea is, obviously there's a heist going on. They're going to steal all the money that's there because some hackers have shut down their shredder. Of course they have, because you can hack a shredder. I'm pretty sure you can't hack a shredder. But anyways. And this whole double cross thing, I'm not going to spoil it because it is reasonably new to Netflix. And Maggie Grace plays a federal officer who's in charge of this, and, it's all her responsibility. So the hurricanes come in, their backup generators failed, and their power's flickering. So she drives to go get the mechanic who fixes it, who's a local guy, who is the brother of this other meteorologist character. And then it all starts from there. That's how they all get involved, and the guys trying to steal the money go after them because they need her for the code to get the money. It is literally exactly what you expect from that kind of movie. If you've seen both Twister and Hard Rain, you will know that it is exactly what those two are together. If that sounds like your jam, it'll be your jam. If not, I hope you like mediocre heist movies, because it's a mediocre heist movie. It was enjoyable, like I said. I knew what I was going into it. It was exactly what I expected. I give it a solid 2.5 space herpes. It's a stock standard action movie. Probably should have done better at the theater than it did, but you don't expect. If it went direct to video, you would not be surprised. You'd be like, "Oh, direct to video, that makes sense." But enjoyable. Give it a shot. Another one where, while there are some sparks from the protagonist, the male protagonist and the female protagonist. By the way, Maggie Grace is the competent one. She's the one who can kick people's asses. To the point where he's like, "I'll go do this dangerous thing. You cover me with your gun because I'm no good with that." And he never picks up a gun and becomes hyper competent like they love to do in action movies. So, hats off to that. And when his brother is good with guns, it's okay because he used to be a Marine and he can be okay with guns. So, a little realism there, but it's a hoot. If that sounds like your jam, give it a shot. It's something worth watching. Don't expect it to be a lot, and maybe get a little drink to go with it. Well, Ganto, you got 2 more? 1 more?
3 more.
It keeps changing numbers. Go to town.
I started, so this is going to be a short one. And of course, someone told me not to, but of course, I'm a glutton for punishment. The Bleach version on Netflix. And I think it was Banyan that told me not to do that. Because I'm a Bleach fan. I like Bleach. I think it was a cool series.
He's a huge Bleach fan.
Yeah. And I never got to watch the entire series of Bleach because it's like 700 episodes. So I had to get I just couldn't do it. And so I started off with it. I haven't got to finish watching it. And I'm going to torture myself and get through it. But they did the right thing by also using the same voice actors as the anime. But I feel it's just going to be like the Full Metal Alchemist. It's not going to be good either. Eject, Gonzo, eject. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. Is it's going to be the same exact thing.
I have a quick editorial. Life's too short, and there's too much media to watch. Really, really shitty media after a point. Like if I start a movie, I will watch the entire movie for you guys because you guys need to know. But a TV series, I'm gonna give it an episode or two. If it ain't good, I'm out.
Yeah. Well, this is just a movie, so I'm okay with it. Okay. I haven't finished it out. I got super tired, so I had to stop.
Having to stop in the middle is generally a warning sign.
Yeah. But I have a feeling it's going to be exactly the same as the Full Metal Alchemist and just be as poor as it. So I'm probably going to I'll probably finish it when I'm on board. Or I need to put some models together and I just need some background noise type thing. So yeah. So the other thing I watched, the New Adventures of Sabrina, their holiday episode came out, which I think is cool. I like when Netflix does holiday episodes because it gives me a break between, a season ending and, this. I really like the show. It's really good. I like the characters. This episode was really neat. What I thought was hilarious about all of this above everything else was they kind of did a little poke to a lot of people going, that's not a Christmas tree, that's a Yule tree. They started poking, people poking about everybody using, Christmas trees, the real meaning or what the real Christmas tree is like, or what the real, story behind it. Yule logs, everything, holly and wreaths and all that. They were bringing the pagan side of this holiday season of what it was originally, and I thought that was interesting. Because some people are like, no, it's all Christmas. I'm like, no, it's not. So there's some cool educational stuff on it. The story was a continuation part of the original series, so you didn't feel like this was like a standalone episode, even though it is considered because it's a holiday special. But it still is going to be breaching the gap of part 1 and part 2. What I think is interesting is they're not calling them seasons, they're calling them parts. So to me, it seems like there's going to be an end in sight. When, we don't know, because we don't know how many parts they're going to make. But I just find that interesting that they're calling them parts and not seasons.
It's easier to make a complete story and call it a part. Even though most of the time people do complete season arcs, but it probably gives them an ending point if they end it. Like, we ended every part.
Yeah.
And that way, if you don't get another part, you still feel complete.
Yeah. So I watched it, enjoyed it. I love all the characters. Everything's fun. Good humor. Good story. Good, cool little pagan stuff. Some really cool myths. Because I looked up some of the things. Oh, is that a real thing? Yeah, that's a real thing. Cool. That's kind of neat. Based off some other things. I thought it was really neat. I really like this show. It hits a lot of cool things, does a lot of cool, the characters are really fun. Everything just fits just right. They know how to make a good show. I'm still giving it 0 to 1 space herpes. 1 because it's probably not somebody's cup of tea. 0 because it's just a good series.
So you think it's 0, but you can understand people not necessarily getting it.
Correct. I can. And I highly recommend it. If you've got some good time, just watch it. You think at first you might be going, oh, this is a little CW because, it's based. No. Holy damn, did they just do that? Yeah, they did. So I highly recommend it. Holiday episode, really good. Don't have a problem with it. Let's see. My last one is I watched Outlaw King, which is also a Netflix show, Netflix movie, about 2 hours.
Isn't that Captain Kirk?
Yes, Chris Pine is in it. You actually, if you want to see Chris Pine's Willie, you get to see his Willie in it if you'd like to. Spoiler.
Is William Shatner?
I hope he doesn't call William Shatner, because that would be fucking odd.
Yeah.
That's a fair point, anyone. If you call your thing William Shatner, seek medical help.
And so I was kind of curious about the story, about it, what it really is. It's about Robert the Bruce, and it's kind of like what happened after Braveheart, and a little bit more in depth, which I thought was cool because I like that time period. I really love that history of that.
Robert the Bruce is an interesting historical person.
Yes. And so
he had a bad rap in Braveheart.
Because I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, what's the real true story behind all this? And so I went and researched and looked up and, got all this different information about it. And educated myself, per se. Chris Pine does a great job. All the characters are really good. There's always those... and 2 tribbles. Not funny, Crimson. Not funny at all.
Actually, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is. There's always these characters that are always, when there's Scotsmen to be played, they're always in the movies. And so that's in this one. They're in this one too, so it's kind of funny. Characters really good. Scenery's really good. Set out in the open, not on sets for a lot of the thing, which is even better in my opinion. Everything was really good with it. The fight scenes were really, really good. Very Braveheart type thing. I'm not sure how much of that was real back then or how much was Hollywoodized, but it was really good combat. Paid attention through the whole thing, didn't flip out, didn't space out, didn't pick up my phone type thing. It was very good, very solid. Like I said, it's kind of like what happens after Braveheart, and they actually kind of do it when you watch the show. It comes up to a part, they do some talking, building the story, and then they talk about a part where they kill William Wallace, and that's part of the story. And so it's not directly after Braveheart, but there is a part where William Wallace is dead, and then they continue on with it. So I mean, it was really neat. It got me to read up more about his character, about who he was, and why he's called the Outlaw King, and why he's got the bad rap and all that other stuff. And it was interesting. I really enjoyed it.
It's good to hear it was good because it had troubled production, and I'm always interested to see movies with a troubled production if they actually end up being good or not.
Yeah, it was well worth it. If you like that time period, you like mass combat, you like the characters in that time frame, like people about that, want to learn more about some history, go for it. I highly recommend it. It's 2 hours, well worth it. One maybe pushing it type thing, but I highly recommend it. It was a good fun time. I'd watch it again if I had to. So other than that was mine. I think it was like 9, and we went over by 2 minutes. Damn it, John! It's usually you that does that.
Sorry,
That's okay. You took up everything from me because I was out doing stuff, and all the times I wanted to actually watch things, I was thwarted.
I blame the hair salon.
I totally blame the hair salon.
I'm totally getting them an angry letter.
Automatically. But guys, like I said, we will not be on the air next week, of course, because it is the holiday times, and everybody's going to be out.
We'll be celebrating and eating ourselves sick.
Most likely. Other than that, we really appreciate y'all. Everybody be safe this holiday season. Everybody get back safe. Everybody drive safe. Don't do anything stupid, please. We want y'all back here again. So for More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm John.
I'm Kathy.
Guys, be safe. Take care of yourself.
Happy New Year.
I'm John.
Wait, I can say that, right? Are we?
Yeah.
Wait, we're doing another one before the New Year or after the New Year?
Before the
Merry
New Year.
Christmas.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yes. Happy holidays.
Yep. Whatever you're having, make it happy.
Happy solstice. Ooh, that's my anniversary. That's in 5 days.
See, that's another thing they talked about on that show was the solstice. They pushed that a lot in there, which I thought was really cool. On Sabrina, but yeah, that's just.
Well, I mean, Yule was kind of the solstice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when it was.